All right, Giants Nation. So I've been wanting to make this video for a while now about Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart to me is this year's JJ McCarthy. As I look through the comment section, some people are saying that they don't understand how people like Jackson Dart this year, but they didn't like JJ McCarthy last year. And I think you might find some overlap where some people like JJ McCarthy for the Giants, and then now they like Jackson Dart. The crazy thing is, they like Dart over Sanders and Cam Ward. So it doesn't matter if Cam Ward or Sanders is available. They think you should pass on those quarterbacks. So if Sanders were to fall, they're saying don't draft Sanders, draft Jackson Dart. But I'm not really into Jackson Dart. I mean, I've seen some highlights. I know one of his wide receivers used to be Malik Neighbors' quarterback in high school. But and then apparently he's a really good wide receiver and he has some injury issues. But I don't know. I don't really see the hype with Jackson Dart. So there are a couple people that I watch their draft, or not even their film sessions of the quarterbacks every year because that's their job. They're getting paid on YouTube or professionally to break down the quarterbacks. So for me, I'm not going to be like some of these giant content creators and try to reinvent the wheel. You got people already breaking down the quarterbacks that are coming in. I don't need to break down the quarterback because one, I'm not somebody who does that. So, if I see something, I might call it out, but at the same time, I'd rather somebody who does it every single year break down that QB's play to me. So with that said, we're going to start with the first video. I'm going to link the content creators in the bio so you can go to their TikToks or YouTube channel and follow them. But let's start with the first video.
Completely unwarranted. There is a ridiculous amount of hype surrounding Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart, and I think it is completely unwarranted. I do not see what people see in this player at all. You've got fantasy football accounts saying he's the best quarterback in the draft. You've got Dan Orlovsky saying he's a first-round pick. No. Jackson Dart is a day 3 guy. The hype is just unreal. And the biggest obstacle in Dart's way to becoming a good player in the NFL is the offense he plays in. Lane Kiffin's offense is not translatable to the NFL in the slightest. Historically, quarterbacks who have played under his offense don't translate like a Matt Corral per se. Why? Well, because quarterbacks aren't required to read the field in this offense. Over half of their plays are one-read RPOs. You're going to get sick of me showing you the same play over and over again, but this is what watching Jackson Dart is like. Like, guys, this isn't just from the same game. These are from the same drive. That last play I showed you? Yeah, well, guess what? This is the very next play. People will legitimately bring up his completion percentage as an argument. And to that I say, he better have a good completion percentage, please. And due to this play style, he has no idea how to actually read a defense, how to read a field. And that's seen in his dropbacks, where he will continually lock onto his first read and miss open guys.
Who does that sound like? That don't sound like Daniel Jones? How the fuck you talking about you want Jackson Dart to be the quarterback for the New York Giants?
All over the field. On this play, Ole Miss has Trey Harris down here. He's running a deep post while we've got a crosser by the slot receiver. And into that, the defense has one high safety. They end up running cover 3. And into these looks, for the most part, this post route is more of a clear out route. It's meant to clear out the rest of the field for the other routes to develop. Especially because, as you see, the high safety stays over the top of the post. So now he's double covered, meaning the crosser is wide open, especially because this corner continues to run with Trey Harris. And from a completely clean pocket, he locks on to that post and he throws it into double coverage. It's not open and it wasn't even near the player. Also struggles with his timing when to throw the ball on his true dropbacks. On this play, Ole Miss just has this receiver on a streak up the field. You'll see the receiver here does a good job creating some separation at the top of his route. If the ball was in the air right now, there'd be a good chance that this play is going to be made, even if there's a safety over the top. Like, look, this ball has to be out, like, right now. This ball's got to be out now. Jackson Dart hasn't even loaded up to throw it yet. By the time this ball is out, the receiver's already 30 yards down the field, the DB has time to recover, the safety comes in to help, and it's an incomplete pass on top of being under.
Well, that sound like Daniel Jones. Ain't that what we saw with Malik Neighbors and Daniel Jones? That's the guy y'all want for the Giants?
Thrown. Dart doesn't have some amazing arm like some people make him out to have. It's pretty average to a little bit above average, but it's not enough to make that kind of throw. And oftentimes in true passing situations on 3rd and long, you'll just see him check down because he doesn't know what he's looking at. On this play, Dart's going to be facing a true cover 1, meaning it's man coverage across the board with 1 high safety. And the play the offense has is double digs on the left side here, and then we've got an out by the receiver at the bottom of the screen. And we'll see Dart drops back, gets a clean pocket. He's good. Let's get 2.5 seconds into the play, and I would argue all 3 of his receivers are open in some way. Maybe not the out, but the digs are 100% open. And Dart, while looking directly at them, elects to just throw the check down. And I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
Jones.
But the worst accounts you'll know will just show you this play and tell you he's the best quarterback in the draft when he's not. And I'm not saying Dart doesn't have some great throws in his resume, but to act like he's some can't-miss prospect when he's barely a day 3 guy in a very weak quarterback class, in my opinion, I just don't get it. And again, you'll see people bring up his stats as a reason why he's a top QB. And to that I say, 19 of his 29 passing touchdowns came against Furman, whatever school that is, I'm sorry I don't know it, Arkansas, and Duke. In SEC play, outside of Arkansas, he threw 6 touchdowns. That's it. Now again, this isn't a weak quarterback class. There are some tools you'd like to work with. He's got an above average arm. His measurables are okay. He can be decently accurate when he knows when he's going with the ball. But please don't look at a deep ball highlight posted by a fantasy football account and think this is one of the best QBs in this draft, because it's not. There is a ridiculous amount of hype surrounding Ole Miss.
So yeah, this account right here, he does a really good job of breaking down a lot of film. You know, he's a big Dexter Lawrence fan. One of his videos, the first time I found him, he was basically saying that, you know, Dexter Lawrence is one of the best, well, is the best in his position. And I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, let me sit down and watch the film. And he broke it down piece by piece. This is what you guys need to be watching. Y'all need to stop watching highlights, man. I don't know if any of the giant content creators have broken down Jaxson Dart film, and you know, they were looking at him like, okay, we probably should draft him. But man, if I go through and find out that y'all are talking about drafting Dart, I am going to roast you. And you know what, there's another video and it actually gets worse. Although I will say he is honestly, again, because people said the draft class is weak, he is the 3rd or 4th quarterback. Some people are saying number 1, which is kind of disrespectful to Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. This guy is clearly not better than either of those 2 quarterbacks, but you know, the next account has him as QB4. So this account is the franchise guy, over 100,000 followers on YouTube. He does this every year. I don't want to hear any Jaxson Dart stands or, you know, Giants fans talk about how, you know, they don't respect the opinions of these 2 content creators, because yo fat ass literally just watch highlights. You don't be watching no games. You don't be breaking down no film. They do this for a living. So if you like Jaxson Dart and you don't like the video because they're not saying good things about Jaxson Dart, don't matter.
Let's go to my number 4 guy. Jaxson Dart is my number 4 quarterback. I teased it on Twitter. Number 3 was going to be a surprise for some people. It's not the consensus number 3 guy. I think you guys probably have an idea of who it is at this point, but maybe not. But that's not to say you can't get excited about Jaxson Dart in his own right. In fact, he does have the same grade as my number 3 guy, a 6.2 grade with a late 2nd, early 3rd round grade. But I do just prefer the other guy a little bit more.
But look at the comp.
But Dart is...
Look at the comp. Drew Lock on the low end and Derek Carr on the high end. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a fan of Derek Carr, and I'm definitely not a fan of Drew Lock. And it gets even worse in this video, because this segment, it is a lot of minutes. We might not watch the entire segment, but let's listen to some of the stuff he's saying about Jaxson Dart.
Is a very kind of clean slate potential starting prospect with starter tools for the next level. He just checks a lot of boxes, just needs to continue to keep growing across the board with his consistency. You like that he's got smooth, repeatable throwing mechanics. He's got a strong arm. I think he's in the mix for a tough conversation in this draft class for who has the strongest arm. None of these guys have a Will Levis. Anthony Richardson,
Yeah,
Caleb
Anthony
Williams
Richardson got a
level
strong-ass
arm
arm.
strength. But Jaxson Dart's up there. He's got a B+ arm strength grade from me, which would land him kind of in the 12 to 20 range of starters in the league, I would say. And Dart might be the most accurate quarterback in this draft to all three levels. He's definitely in the conversation there as well.
I've been hearing that, you know, like Shador's accuracy is somewhat overrated, but like the first guy said, if he's running the same plays, then of course he's going to be accurate. So if he's mostly running that, you know, short ass throw, he better be accurate. He run the same play. I mean, come on.
He doesn't spray a lot of passes, and he does drop some absolute dimes in the vertical passing game as well. I think the processing is pretty good. It's not as good as some other guys in this draft, but generally, you know, plays on time. I think there's plenty of good examples of him making second read throws. And to his credit, Ole Miss ran a pretty gimmicky offense relative to a lot of these guys, so it was a lot of half-field reads and a lot of times where they're not asking him to make full field progression reads, but they're in there. He's not afraid to do it. He's shown that he can handle that. Just got to get a little bit better at it. And he can make some real anticipation throws as well, where he's letting the ball go before the receiver begins his break. He's a good athlete. He's good at sensing when the rush gets in and doing something about it with his legs. He can be a designed run threat as well. He's got some power to him. There's some plays down by the goal line where he's kind of putting the team on his back, you know, pushing through the defense to get into the end zone. He's a productive player. He's got 3.5 years of starting experience going back to his freshman year at USC. He got better every single year. Again, there's just a lot of boxes checked with him. That's not to say, though, there aren't some weaknesses, some knocks I have on him. So my holdups on him are, number one, there are some really boneheaded decisions at times. Like some of the biggest,
like Daniel Jones. Oh, no.
What the fuck are you doing throws in this draft where it seems predetermined. I'm throwing the deep ball. I don't care if there's 3 safeties back there. I'm throwing it anyway. And it gets picked off, or it should have been picked off. There are some, oh, Jaxson Dart, no types of throws on there that just inevitably are going to make you wonder, like, what are we seeing here? Are we really processing things the way we need at the NFL level? Number 2, I don't like his pocket feel and spatial awareness.
Daniel Jones, oh my God. Quickly,
he can extend plays. He can do something about it. But there was a lot of 3-man rushes where he's bailing out of clean pockets, taking the check down a little bit too early. There's times where he's got his eyes downfield and he kind of just steps into pressure and gets hit while he's thrown, where it's like, dude, if you felt the rush and you took a step back instead of a step forward, you would have easily hit that throw. And he doesn't really look to use his feet too much. He will at times. It's not a huge weakness, but there were a lot of times where I'm like, instead of you trying to throw a contested catch there, you had room to manage the pocket, whether it's to reset and find a second read or to get out of the pocket, use your ability outside of structure, which is really good. So I just didn't love his pocket feel. It was very Derek Carr-y, dare I say Daniel Jones. It wasn't quite Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones is
close
like
enough, brother. That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. But I don't know, man. There's people out there that they are glazing this guy. So I'm going to play one last video of somebody who was saying that he was the best quarterback in this upcoming draft. Let's see why he says that.
Jaxson Dart is QB1. I've been saying this all year. This kid is special, and it's hard not to be with the last name Dart. He's the type of guy you want to play for. How many QBs are going to run through a linebacker's face? I'm not saying he should do that in the league, but this is the type of guy guys are going to want to play for. They're going to rally behind him. Unlike the nonchalant king Cam Ward. He's better than Shador Sanders. He's better than Cam Ward. It's really not a debate. We all saw how Shador did against BYU. Cam Ward is the 3rd best O-line in college football, and when he's under pressure, his production drops tremendously. And how many guys can make the Zach Wilson Pro Day throw in a live game? This is a 50-yard laser rolling to his left. Absolute dime. Jaxson Dart needs to be talked about more. This kid can sling the ball all over the field. Outside the numbers, across the middle, deep down the field, he can really do it all. He does a great job conducting the offense, getting the ball out quick. I mean, just look at the accuracy on all these deep throws. And this kid can run. He's sneaky athletic. He beat Jaden Daniels in a head-to-head matchup last year. This kid is no joke. He's going to fight for extra yards. He's going to try to run you over, hurdle you, do whatever he can to win. There's nothing nonchalant about Jaxson Dart. I'm telling you, Cam Ward doesn't even compare. He's got really good pocket awareness. Fourth down, he's making guys miss. And yeah, he has speed, but he's keeping his eyes downfield and finding his receiver. He feels the pressure from his left side. He's completely unfazed, throwing an absolute dime down the field. This is stuff that will translate. And like I mentioned before, my favorite thing about him is his toughness and his grit. He will do whatever it takes to win. He has that aura about him. I feel like you're destined to be a good NFL quarterback with the name Jaxson Dart. Laying out on 3rd and long to get the first, Cam Ward would never do that. The characteristics you want in a quarterback is grit, toughness, accuracy. Gets the ball out quick. He does all of that better than Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Jaxson Dart dogged Penn State last year in a bowl game. He's doing this in the SEC against ranked opponents. He's got a better passer rating than all the top prospects. Less interceptions. Most importantly, he's a leader of men. He's the guy that's going to lead you into battle. He's not going to shy away from contact, shy away from confrontation. He's going to lead you into battle, ball out, and then he's going to dunk a basketball. He will be the steal of the draft. Jaxson Dart is...
All right, so this guy's an idiot. Let's go through the comment section. Comment section's already saying it. Will Levis had toughness and grit too. You know what's crazy? I always joke that Will Levis and Daniel Jones are similar in a sense. And so maybe he's probably going to end up being Will Levis for whoever team drafts him. I mean, some people are saying that they want him to be drafted by the Seahawks. I mean, yeah, let him go to the Seahawks, man. I see somebody says he's Matt Corrupt. If you're a Giants fan and you like Jaxson Dart and you want the Giants to draft Dart, comment down below why you want us to draft Dart and what you thought about the first 2 videos and the 3rd video where this guy's clearly related to Dart, because the amount of glazing, as the young people will say, he did, you know, which glazing is like when you really love a player and you're saying that they're so awesome. I mean, it just looks like he just watched the highlights and sat down and said, let me break down the highlights and only the highlights. But to say this guy is better than Cam Ward and Shedeur is insane to me. But tell me what y'all think.